Rent in our information A is a question mark, which means we are going to figure it out from the beginning, and we are going to use our information B adjustments in order to do so. We are on adjustment Roman figure 5. It says Butle Ltd rents 150 square meters of space from Prime Storage at a monthly amount of 330 rands per square meter from 1 May 2022. The company increased the space rented by 25 square meters on 1 November 2022. Rent was paid until 30 April 2023. So if we paid rent up until 30 April 2023, it means that we have paid our rent 2 months in advance. It means that we will have to start calculating our total figure for rent, and then out of that total figure, we will need to subtract 2 months worth of rent, which is March and April, because they do not belong to this financial year. Our financial year ends on 28 February 2023. So we are going to first start by calculating our rent before the increase. So our rent before we increased the square spaces that we are renting out, we initially started by renting out 150 square meters, and we paid 330,000 for them, which gives us a total of 49,500 if you punch it in your calculator. Now we need to figure out how many months did we rent out at this particular price before we increased. Now they say that the increase was on 1 November 2022, so that means you are starting to count from 1 May 2022 to 1 November 2022. So you will count with your fingers, don't have shame about it. May, June, July, August, September, October. I'm going to end in October because the rent was increased on the 1st of November, so I cannot count November. So that means I paid this amount for a total of 6 months, so which means in full that amount is 297,000. Now for the rest of the year, I'm going to have to calculate it at an increased amount. Now they only told me that they increased it by 25,000 square meters, so I'm just going to calculate that 25 square meters using the amount, because the amount didn't change. We are still paying 330,000 per square meter. So that means the amount that we paid for an increase for the rest of those months, meaning for the rest of the remaining months, would be an increased amount which we are calculating here, and then that amount will be added to our initial amount, and that will give us a total amount that we've been paying for the remainder of our financial year. So now this increase itself, not including the original amount, will give me a total of 8,250. Now that to 8,250 is just an increase. I have not really included in it the amount that was increased to it, which is the amount that I paid before my increase, which is 49,500. So this means that after my rent, I increased it with 25 square meters. The total amount that I have been paying for per month was now increased to 57,750. This is what I was paying per month after increase. This is what I was paying per month before increase. This is what I was paying per month now after increase. Now, how many months did I pay this particular amount? I paid it for 6 months. 6 months, I'm counting from 1 November to 30 April 2023. So November, I'm starting with the month of November because it was on the 1st of November, so it must be included in the calculation. November, December, January, February, March, April. I'm counting it now because look at the day. The day is 30th of April, so we are counting the month of April as well. So that means now in total for this 6 months, I paid 346,500. Now I can now use this two amounts to determine my total rent. So the total rent that I paid, including the 2 months that I paid in advance, this would give me the total full amount that I paid, and that would be 297,000 plus 346,500, and it gives me a total of 643,500 when you punch it in your calculator. Now this is the total that I paid. In this total that I paid, remember I also included March and April. So March and April will need to be subtracted because they do not belong to this financial year. So how do I get March and April? I'm going to remember that when March and April came around, my rent was already increased. So it means that for March and April, I was paying 57,750 per month. So it means now I'm minusing 57,750 times 2 representing March and April. So then this will give me my final answer. Now transferring this calculation into my statement of comprehensive income, I have that total amount of rent that I have calculated at 643,500, and I'm going to minus 57,750 times 2. 57,750 times 2 in your calculator will give you a total of 115,500, and that is what I'm subtracting to represent those 2 months, and that will bring my rent expense to a total of 528,000.